So this is a GE SG series hot water heater. It's Energy Star compliant, and that's because it has an automatic flue at the top of the unit that opens and closes when the unit's running or not. So when I first got this and first installed it, I was getting some white smoke coming from the access panel here. Just a very trace amount, but you could notice it, especially in the right light. And it would fill up my basement with a very strong odor. As you can imagine, I was quite concerned. So I called GE, and it turns out Rheem makes all GE hot water heaters now, but spoke to GE, and after speaking to 3 or 4 different technicians, different levels of technicians, and telling them what was going on, they said it was probably some sort of gasket. And I believe what they mean is that there's a foam gasket that goes around the access panel here, and they were thinking that maybe it was actually starting to melt if it was getting too close to this metal plate, and actually this will get really hot. So anyway, they sent out a service person, local service person, to come and install the foam gasket here. The service person got out. He noticed that the gasket looked fine. The one that was already in it looked fine. And actually the unit, this had been about 3 days later, the unit had stopped smoking. But of course I didn't tell him not to come out because I was obviously concerned. So he came out and looked at the gasket, said it's fine, and turns out he actually works on a number of these units, and not just GE and Rheem, but he said this is pretty much industry-wide. But he says what hot water heater manufacturers will do is they will actually put a little bit of oil around the burner unit. And the reason for that is that these units can sit on the shelf in the stock rooms for a year or even longer. And so that oil is to prevent rust in and around the burners. And so what happens is the first time you crank it on, that oil is simply burning off. And he asked me, was the smoke very white and very faint? And I said yes. He said yes, that was the oil. And he said it takes a few days, depending on the usage, to kind of burn it all off. But so anyway, just wanted to let those folks out there know about this. This is the first new water heater I've ever installed, and so I was rather surprised when I saw the smoke and the very strong smell. I was quite concerned, and the 3 or 4 technicians I spoke to at GE or Rheem or whoever it is really didn't have a clue. They thought it was some gasket, but it wasn't. So if you install a new hot water heater and it starts to smoke, should you be concerned? I would say yes, to a certain extent. It wouldn't hurt to call. Just to reiterate that it was not that much smoke. Again, it was just a little bit of smoke coming up here through the access panel. Nothing extreme, and it was kind of odd. The GE tech asked me what did it smell like, and I said, well, I don't really know. They said, did it smell like rubber or foam? And it didn't smell like either, and I guess that's because it was just oil. But so something to consider. If you see a little bit of smoke coming out, it could just be oil on the burner. Or, of course, it could be something more serious. It wouldn't hurt to call the manufacturer just to make sure. But anyway, just something good to know. But otherwise, if you're interested in this GE unit, it's SG series, the 38-gallon series. Got really good reviews. I bought it at Home Depot. It was a very good price. And so far, I'm rather happy with it. They do make a 50-gallon version, which might be a little more compatible with your household size, but this 38's, it's basically a 40-gallon tank. But so far we've been very pleased with it. Anyway, hope that helps out.